During the Third Great Ninja War, the enemies of the Hidden Leaf had a standing order. If you see a flash of silver hair and a glowing white blade, drop your weapons and flee on sight. But the soldiers scrambling through the mud in those skirmishes were actually running from a child, his son, Kakashi. The man they were looking for had already been dead for years. Sakumo Hatake is a ghost in the historical record. We never see him fight a full battle on screen, yet his name carried a level of psychological terror that survived long after his death. This posthumous reputation indicates that Sakumo's strength is an outlier. He exists in a tier of power that the series' established ranking systems struggle to categorize. To understand the ceiling of this world, you start with the Legendary Sannin, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru. They were the primary strategic deterrents for the Hidden Leaf, capable of altering the outcome of entire wars. This official baseline shows top-tier strength. The collective power of the three Sannin equates to the combined might of the 5 Kage. Yet Minato Namikaze noted that Sakumo's individual reputation outweighed all 3 Sannin combined. We can quantify this further. Orochimaru's individual output is relative to Naruto utilizing a 4-tailed chakra cloak. Surpassing Orochimaru and his 2 peers simultaneously places Sakumo in a bracket reserved for the most destructive entities in the series. By these metrics, Sakumo operated outside the standard progression of an elite ninja. He was a combatant who outscaled the village's most powerful collective units. Most high-level shinobi rely on external power sources. They utilize genetic bloodline traits, sealed demons, or sage mode. Sakumo had none of these. His son Kakashi reached a similar level of fame, but he required a borrowed Sharingan eye to handle the technical requirements of Kage-level combat. Sakumo relied on hyper-lethal fundamentals. His effectiveness came from overwhelming speed and technical precision, stripping away the magical elements of the world to focus on raw efficiency. He channeled this physical ability through the White Light Chakra Sabre, a short blade that became the visual signature of his lethality. Sakumo reached the highest tier of shinobi combat through physical conditioning and martial mastery alone. He proved that even in a world of magical eyes and demons, human limits could be pushed to a level that rivaled the gods. But while Sakumo was physically dominant on the battlefield, he was politically vulnerable within his own village. During a critical mission, Sakumo faced a choice: complete the objective or save his teammates. He chose to abandon the mission to ensure his comrades survived. The Hidden Leaf followed a rigid code where the mission was the priority. By choosing his friends over his duty, Sakumo committed what the village considered an unforgivable offense. The consequences were total. Even the teammates he saved turned against him to avoid being associated with his failure, leaving Sakumo completely isolated from the society he had fought to protect. His downfall demonstrates that in the ninja world, collective social shame is a more effective weapon than any jutsu. Sakumo eventually took his own life. This was a culturally coded act, intended to erase the dishonor from his family name and give his son a chance at a future without his father's shadow. The immediate result was trauma. Kakashi grew up rigidly obsessed with following every rule, desperate to avoid the social death that destroyed his father. Yet Sakumo's choice to value lives over rules eventually became the moral foundation for the entire series. It is the core philosophy that Kakashi would later pass on to Naruto Uzumaki, to Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. Sakumo Hatake's ultimate legacy wasn't his unmatched speed or his blade. It was the moral compass he left behind, which eventually reshaped the entire shinobi world into one that prioritized comrades over missions.